Alrighty, welcome back to Citispell. It's been a while since I've been able to post life, but what we're going to do today in the video is we're going to cover how to change the oil in a vehicle. It's not too hard, and you don't want to pay somebody else to do something that you can do yourself, especially if you have the time, the means, the know-how. Just follow the directions step by step. Safety first. Chalk those wheels. Use jack stands if need be. But you want to be safe. You don't want to get hurt. You're trying to save some money. I'm going to go through and show you the steps. I'm going to show you the tools required and needed, and I'll explain the price that it cost me to do this and approximately how long it takes me to do this. It would take me a little longer videoing it, but it still is not a very time eater. It's not going to take a lot of your time to do this. It actually save you some money. Alright, so we'll head out to the garage and we'll get started. Stand by. Okay, here you go. You're looking at some tools. Over here we have a oil filter wrench, ratchet with socket, and a regular open and closed end wrench. Use either one of these for the drain plug on the bottom of the engine, and use that for the oil filter. You may not have to use that, but it's always best to have it just in case. It may be loose enough to where you can turn the oil filter off by hand. It shouldn't be too awful tight. Do not over tighten it. And of course you're going to want to have an oil pan. This will catch all the oil that you'll be draining out of the vehicle. It has a nice little area right here where you can pour it back into the bottle so you can recycle the oil. We're going to be changing the oil on a couple different vehicles, so we're going to be doing this twice. So I'm going to cut the video as best as I can to save you time. But here's the filter we're going with and the oil we're going with. This is for a small, very small compact Chevrolet car. This oil and filter here will be for a mid-size, or I guess small, not mid-size anymore, but small pickup truck. A small Ford pickup truck. Okay, here we are underneath the vehicle. You need to find, this is the transmission pan. You need to find the engine oil pan. There's the engine oil pan. Right on the back of it, right there, is the nut, the bolt that you'll be turning to loosen to let the oil out of the engine oil pan. So you're going to determine which size it is and go ahead and loosen that and let it drain into the oil pan. Okay, we've raised the hood. This particular vehicle is a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder. Here you'll find your oil cap. This is where you add your oil. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And I also remove the dipstick. This will allow air to flow into the engine. It won't create a vacuum. It'll break the vacuum. The oil will drain faster. Now this vehicle has been sitting for at least 15 minutes. You go into a 10-minute oil change, they're going to change it right Johnny on the spot. I prefer to let the vehicle sit, let all the engine oil drain to the bottom of the engine. That way you get the majority of the used oil out of the vehicle. so that when you add new, the majority of the engine oil then in the engine is fresh and new. So let's get started. So here you see we have our oil pan. Here's the bolt. We're just going to loosen that to allow the oil to drain into the catch pan. So righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So it's loose. Make sure your pan's under. There it goes. Now we're going to let that oil drain, drain, drain. You can let it drain for a while, make sure everything that comes out of it. Alrighty, that's almost done draining. Now you're going to want to remove your oil filter, your old oil filter. On this particular vehicle, it is right here. This is the front of the vehicle. It's right down here. Sometimes you can remove them by hand if they haven't been put on too tight. If they have, that's where that wrench comes into place. Here we are at the filter again. Just like the bolt, the drain plug on the oil pan, this is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey as well. We'll try to do this while I'm holding the camera. Putting the oil filter wrench on and snugging it up. And then righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. There it goes. See it turning? Sometimes it's kind of tight. It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure to turn it. See it turning? I may be able to get it with my hand now. Yep. Another reason for letting the vehicle sit, let it cool down. Right here's the exhaust. You hear some more oil draining into the pan. You want to make sure your pan is under the drain plug and your filter housing here. And there we go. Here's a filter. Alright, so here's the old filter, the new filter. One of the things that I do is I'll take a little bit of oil and I'll put it on the new rubber gasket that's on this filter, on the new filter. Gives it a better seal. So you just take a little bit of oil and just a light coat on this rubber gasket here, this rubber seal on the new filter. Just an old trick. And then just everything in reverse here. Take your new filter, mount it back on the vehicle, and righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. real good hand tighten. Nice and snug. It doesn't have to be extremely tight. Alright, that'll do it. Now we'll put the drain plug back in and put some oil in it. Alrighty, here we are back under the vehicle. Got our drain plug. I'll go ahead and put our drain plug back in. Tighten it with our hands. Take our wrench and snug it up. Do not over tighten. 10 foot-pounds. You're going to use a torque wrench. There we go. I've done it many times. I don't need a torque wrench. So the plug's back in. Our new filter is in. Now let's add some oil. This particular vehicle calls for 5W30. I went ahead and got the high mileage, anything over 75,000 miles. This vehicle has approximately 90,000 miles. So this will work for that. But your car manual, your vehicle manual, or the auto parts store themselves will be able to tell you exactly how many quarts, what type of oil you may need. As far as viscosity, you get 5W30 here. So we're going to go ahead and add that, and they'll be able to tell you how much you need to add. This here is 5 quarts, and on these jugs on the side there's a depth gauge. It'll actually tell you 5 quarts, 4 quarts, 3 quarts on down. So you put in approximately, get close to what the vehicle calls for, and then you're going to take your dipstick and check your oil level. You don't want to overfill. This vehicle calls for just a hair over 4 quarts. So we're going to go close to 4 quarts and then go ahead and check it. Okay, off camera I added a little bit at a time. 3.5 quarts, checked it. Obviously it will need a little bit more. Added 4 quarts to this, and now we're going to check the oil and see what it says. It says max. It's so clean you can't even see it. Hard to get it with a light. It's like a golden color, as opposed to the brown color that it came out. Okay, we replace the dipstick. Remember to put your cap back on your engine oil fill spot. Remove everything from on top of the engine. Tools. Do a last check. And we are good. Up top. Take a quick look underneath to check for any gravity leaks. Filler plug, excuse me, isn't leaking. And the filter isn't leaking. That's from me removing it. But right there you see it is not leaking. The wetness is from when I drained it. So it's all good. We'll fire it up and I'll repeat the process. I'll check it for leaks and tighten as needed. Okay, here we are again. Different vehicle. This is a small pickup truck. This is a Ford Ranger. It's a 1999 Ford Ranger with a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. So just like with the little Chevy car and just like with most of the automobiles out there, Go ahead and remove your filler cap. We want to break that suction, helps the engine oil flow. We're going to remove the dipstick. I'm going to set it off to the side here. Now we can go underneath, locate the engine oil filter and the drain plug, and just like we did with the small car, we'll drain the oil. We'll remove the oil filter after the engine oil has stopped draining out of the oil pan. We'll remove the engine oil filter, install a new one, put the drain plug back in, snug, not over tightened, and go from there. Okay, here on the side of the engine, here's the engine oil pan. There on the side of the engine, there's the oil filter. And over here, under the pan, I've located the drain plug. We'll go ahead and loosen that, make sure our oil catch is underneath the oil pan. Just like on the car. Make sure that we have our oil pan located in such a way that it doesn't let oil get onto the floor. There it goes. All right. Perfect. Yeah, it needed changed. Look how dark it is. Okay, here we are back underneath. We got the oil filter wrench on the oil filter. And just like with the drain plug, just like the last vehicle, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. You can see it barely moving, but it is moving. That's a good thing. Alright, I'll not bore you with the laborious part of this. I'll get that off of there and we'll come back. Okay, there's the old filter. Here's the new one. I'm going to do just like the car. I'm going to take some of that oil and put a light coat on this rubber seal here. And then back into the truck. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Tighten her back on. Nice and snug, not over-tighten. We don't have to crank down on these. Okay, here we are back on top. The drain plug is in and snug. The oil filter is back. The new one is back on and snug down. Remember, put a little coat of oil on that rubber gasket where the filter meets the engine and just snug it down. Now we're going to top off the engine oil. This particular vehicle, same viscosity, 5W30. Don't get too excited. It calls for about 4.5 quarts. So we'll do like the other vehicle. Just continue adding oil, get up to about 3.5-4 quarts, check it, and add as needed. I'll come back to you. Stand by. Alrighty, we're done topping off the fluid, the engine oil. We're going to go ahead and put our dipstick back. Check it just one more time, just for fun. Oh, beautiful golden color instead of a brown color. That's what we want. We're going to go ahead and make sure that you remove everything from the engine compartment. Put the engine filler cap back on. Everything's nice and tight. No tools. We'll go ahead and close her back up. Another job done. Alrighty, as promised, receipt from AutoZone. You probably won't be able to see it. It is very fine print. $70.27. That's for the oil and filter for 2 vehicles. Now, if I wasn't filming the process, it would have taken me about 20 minutes, 10 minutes per vehicle, which sounds a whole lot like a 10-minute oil change. So you can spend between $50 and $60 at a 10-minute oil change, or you can spend $70 on 2 vehicles. So if it had been 1 vehicle, obviously cut that in half, you're looking at $35. You would have saved yourself at least $25. So I of course have the tools, but I've been gathering and gaining tools for many years. But a wrench, an oil filter wrench, a socket set, a funnel, those aren't expensive, or you can borrow them from your neighbor or somebody, a family member. But anything you can do to save a little bit of money. Like I said, and you get the satisfaction of knowing you saved the money. You didn't go to a corporate oil change place. Yes, it takes some of your time, but for all you young men out there, it's just a quick lesson on how to do that. Both vehicles, I double checked, no leaks. The oil filters are nice and snug. Oil plugs are nice and snug, and the oil level is proper. But I appreciate you bearing with me. I wish the video could have been a little shorter, but I was trying to fit both vehicles in at the same time on the same video, so you could see that it's literally the same process no matter what vehicle, unless of course you're driving a Tesla or something like that. But anyways, thanks for sitting a spell, and again, I apologize about the infrequentness of the videos. A lot going on around here lately, as you know, life. But we'll try to keep the videos coming, and I hope this was helpful. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, or thumbs down, up to you. But anyways, until next time, God bless, and thanks for sitting a spell.